What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Geek Out. I am so happy to be here with you today, guys. It's been a long one, 2 weeks without being in front of that microphone. I missed you all. For those who don't know where I was, or this is your first time watching, welcome to the Geek Ride, and welcome to a new Geek Out episode. Every weekday from Monday to Thursday here on the Geek Ride channel. On Monday, we have a Geek Out episode talking about the things that we love in the geek world. And Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we play games and we geek out and play basically. So, a little bit of housekeeping before we get into the show. Today we're gonna talk about Star Trek with the season 3 of Discovery coming up. I have a lot to say about Star Trek. But like I said, before we start, I have a little bit of housekeeping to do. Um, Basically, we have a new show. It won't be a live show, but it's a new show. You can find it on our page. Look for The Geek Ride on YouTube. It's basically Geek Out reviews Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai. So it's me and Felipe Macedo. We go every week, watch the episode on Crunchyroll, and talk about it. We are both big fan of the manga back in the days. Felipe has even watched the original animated series. I haven't, but we are here with this new iteration. It started basically last Saturday, and the episode is up today on YouTube. So every Monday, 6 a.m., you will have this brand new show by me and Felipe. It was very cool, very nice. Thank you very much to Felipe to be part of this crazy adventure that we put up together at the last minute on Thursday last week. And it ended up very, very well. We had a lot of fun. We talked for about an hour about this first episode. So it was really cool. So go see that. Like I said, on YouTube, look for The Geek Ride. And last housekeeping, well, we are back. We are back. So if you are wondering why the channel was basically, hey man, is there any chance you're interested in a professional custom Twitch overlay banner transition more, because I'm offering a deal? I can message you my portfolio on Discord. Would you be interested? Eva Cliff, thanks. I currently no. I'm doing all the banners and all the graphic design myself. But thanks. I will keep your contact. And if ever we want to expand or we want to make it bigger than it is right now, I will contact you. So leave me a DM or a message. You can contact me on Twitter at Soshwank if you want to. I'm gonna look it up. Thanks for the watch though. So yeah, so basically, if I wasn't here for the past 2 weeks, is because I was working on a playtest for Ubisoft. That is basically everything I can tell you. I'm on NDA, and that's it. But it was really fun. It was a great experience to work with Ubisoft for almost 2 weeks. It's well, it wasn't my first time, but it's always a pleasure to work with Ubisoft. For people who know me for a long time, they know that it is my dream to basically wake up every morning and go to work in those studios. So even if I'm not there yet, every playtest, every time that I can help Ubisoft for whatever they need, I'm always up for it. I love that company, even though they had a kind of a shaky year. Some people did some bad things, but I am sure the people that need to take care of these situation will do. and that they can go back on track making amazing games. So that's what I did for the past 2 weeks, and now we are back. I am happy to be back. I'm happy to be here. Like I said at the start of the show, I missed it. I'm missing talking to you guys. So let's get on to it. This week we're talking about Star Trek. So if you've watched a previous episode of Geek Out called "What Is My Geekness," I talked about how basically in my family Star Trek is or was mostly important. So as a kid, basically my introduction to Star Trek was the original series of movies. So as a kid, I haven't seen the original series. My dad was a fan of the original series. We were really introduced with the movies, so the motion picture, Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock, Return Home. What are the last two? Last Frontier, I think it's the last one. I'm missing one there. So that was really our introduction. I love these movies. I Search for Spock and Return Homes are probably my favorite. I know Return Homes is like not well regarded. I freaking love that movie. The fact that they have to go back in time to get some whales to use the whale signal to freaking love it. I love that movie. And then of course came TNG. So TNG played basically at the right time for me. It played in the 90s, just before I went to high school. So it's not something that we would watch regularly. Yeah. It's more something that when it pop up, and we would watch it as a family. It was always fun. My dad would watch it oftenly, and of course, when those movie came about, we as a family were all in. So that was Star Trek for me as a kid. It was mostly the original movies, TNG, and the TNG's movie. Um, After that, I kind of grew up, forgot a little bit about Star Trek. It was always on my mind. It like it was First Contact and Degeneration were a movie that I would rewatch and rewatch as for the original movies. But it's never something that although I called at that time myself a fan of Star Trek. I never got at that time into DS9 or Voyager. Picard and the crew of the Next Generation were really my guys. They were my team, and I would root for them. Then in 2009, uh, J.J. Abrams brought back Star Trek, started the Kelvin timeline with the new movie, and it kind of revigorate my love for Star Trek. So again, I went back after maybe, I don't know, maybe after 5 to 8 year without having Star Trek on my mind. I went back, rewatched the original movies, rewatched TNG, and rewatched the TNG's movie. And again, I just stayed in kind of that framework. But then, a bit later, Discovery came up, and at first I was a bit skeptical about Discovery, but I freaking fell in love with that series, and Discovery really, really, really brought back my love for not just Star Trek, but for the lore, for the history of Star Trek, and for the culture surrounding it. Um, and basically, 2 years ago, starting in 2019, early 2019, so around my birthday, they announced basically Discovery was starting its second season. Yeah, Discovery was starting its second season And in the second season of Discovery, spoiler alert, we are introduced to Captain Pike and the beautiful Enterprise, the original one, 1701. And basically, from that point on, like I said, around my birthday or when Discovery season 2 was playing, they announced Picard, the new Star Trek series, and I started my personal 2 years journey into Star Trek, going boldly where no one has gone before. And so just before Picard, basically, I went online and I looked for what would be the shows or the specific episode I would need to watch to be prepared for Picard. So in 2019, I rewatched TNG, from back to end, start to finish. Sorry. So yeah, so watch TNG in 2019 and watch Voyager. I fell in love with Voyager. Love that crew. Love those characters. Love that story. It is so good. TNG is TNG. Some episode may not have aged well, but it was still the TNG of my youth. It was still Picard and that crew, and I loved every second of it. So that leads. So that was 2019. So during that year, I've rewatched all of TNG and all of Voyager. Then Picard came, watched that, loved it, rewatched it with my dad, and it was awesome. We both loved it, both expecting great things for season 2. And in 2020, well, the pandemic kind of came and took over the world. So for like most of you, I guess I was kind of alone at home, um, with not much to do, nowhere to go. So this year, I told myself, all right, this is the Star Trek year. So Discovery is behind me. Third season is coming up. We're gonna talk about it because it's coming next week, from the time of recording today. Um, so yeah, so 2020 when the pandemic came. So again, a little bit after my birthday, in March, April, everything closed. This is where I went basically nuts. Every second I wasn't playing a video game or I wasn't in front of the camera with you guys. Well, I wasn't in front of the camera at that time, but like basically every free time that I had was for Star Trek. So I started with TNG, then went on again into Voyager and finished with DS9. DS9 was always the one. Like even the year prior, I started like basically before I watched Voyager, I was like, hey, I'm gonna do them in order. I'm gonna do TNG, DS9, and Voyager. But there was something about DS9 that would not grab my attention. It was it the fact that they are on a space station instead of a spaceship, so they don't travel, they don't go to different world and stuff like that. I don't know. I just knew that that first season of DS9 never got old on me. Um, so I kind of like let it go, and even like this year when I went on this voyage, I told myself exactly the same thing. I'm gonna start with TNG, DS9, and then Voyager, and once again, uh, finished TNG, loved it, freaking live it. Uh, got to DS9 and it was like, yeah, you know what, not grabbing my attention again. So went for Voyager. One of my friend who's a big Star Trek nerds also told me like, you know what, man, you got to try it. You're gonna love DS9. It's more about like it's less exploration and more philosophical, philosophical. Yeah, I hope it's the word. So yeah, it's more. It's you go deeper into the philosophy of what is the federation, because basically every time we had we took part of a voyage with a crew, we were mostly at peace. So it was more exploration, negotiation, learning different culture, and clashing them with our own humanity. But DS9 deals with religion and a big war, and the war lasts for the entirety of the series, and it's different. It's definitely different, but this time I pushed through. I told myself I don't care, even if I'm bored for this first season. Let's just go, and I know that at one point it will grab me, and it did. Basically, by the end of the first season, I think those few last episodes uh, really got me in, and at that point, I've rewatched TNG twice, Voyager twice. So I'm more familiar with like the character, like O'Brien. I at first when I tried to watch DS9, I was like, oh okay, they took O'Brien from TNG, but it wasn't like a very important, like it wasn't a prime character in TNG. So I was like, okay, so they took it, that secondary character, and move it here. Okay, that's weird. Uh, but like he became, like him and Jolien became one of my favorite duo of any show. So yeah, so DS9 really surprised me this year, and yeah, so I'm gonna go for the next 45 minutes. Basically, I'm gonna go in each series beside the original one. The original one is still the one that I haven't complete, I would say. I just started it after I've rewatched basically everything. I said, like, you know what? Let's go see what that original series has to offer, and it's fucking amazing. Like for the period that it was done, it is just on a different level. It's not the super, like it's softer. It's a series that make you think more than make you watch in awe when the crew get in those situations. It's more like think about it and make your own assumption about what you think is the right thing here. So I'm really interesting. I started it this last week. I'm about like 5 6 episodes in, so I'm doing that on my own pace. I'm not in a rush like I did with the other series. So basically, um, last year, so the first year of my 2 year journey, I've watched all 7 seasons of TNG in a month and a half, and I've watched all 7 seasons of Voyager in just a little bit less than 3 months. And this year I've rewatched all of it. So 2 seasons of Discovery, 7 seasons of TNG, 1 season of Picard, 7 seasons of Voyager, and 7 seasons of DS9, all within basically the past 8 months. So it was very rushed, very good. I will definitely go back to rewatch some episode. Of course, this year I've skipped over some episode because last year when I've rewatched TNG and Voyager, I took some notes, telling myself like, yeah, you should maybe if you rewatch Evade those episodes, these are the one you did not enjoy. So this year when I did that, maybe in the in the what is it? It's 26 episode per season. Time times 7 season. Me and Mats are not the best friend in this world. You motherfucker, come here. All right, so 26 times 7. So 182 episode on 182 episode of Next Generation. I've skipped maybe 10 or 20 max. Like there's some that I've just poorly aged due to many reasons, mostly racism and stuff like that, and like if you rewatch TNG in especially the era that we are in the past few months, there is some cringe-worthy episode that you can totally skip, forget that they exist, and move on to the episode that holds up. And there is more that holds up than the opposite. So we're gonna go backward. I'm gonna start with the most recent one, being Picard. I freaking love Picard. Of course, the first time I've watched Picard, so the one I've watched when it just came out, watching every episode week per week. I enjoyed it, not loved it. It was a very good show, very well paced. There is some great character moment, great action piece in Picard. The reason why I didn't love it the first time was because I had like that's the problem is you build yourself expectation on what the show should be or how it should like or what the story should be, and of course when you take a character as important as Picard, uh, like you the risk of failing and the risk of derailing is immense, and the risk of like basically like defying the expectation that we have because we know Picard, we know his character, we know like we basically as fan know how he's gonna react to every situation that he can face because we already saw him react to every situation that he can face. Um, but like I said, I liked the story and I liked the show, just not loved it. Uh, and everything's changed the second time I watched it. First of all, the second time I watched it with my dad, and it was a very nice bonding moment. Same as it was with the movie in 2009. So after all these years, when the movie was announced and came out, I basically, yeah, so basically just me and my dad went to the movie theater together and went to see Star Trek, and we got out of there more than pleased with what we saw. The 2009 movie is just absolutely amazing. But yeah, so come back to Picard. Quick review. I love the pace. I love the music. I love the visual. I love the character. I love that we have Picard. I love that we have Seven of Nine. Data is there. Who is there? You, sorry, not who. You is there. I love the new crew. I love the new, basically, pilot of the ship. What's his name? I can't remember his name, but basically, like I love that new dynamic. I love what they set up in the first season, and the reason why the second time I watched it, I loved it, is because my expectations were not there. So basically, I wasn't watching the show, analyzing or more not analyzing, but basically the first time I watched the show, every scene that I would watch I would compare it to what I wanted it to be. But the second time I watched it, I was like, you know what? Fuck that. They wrote it. I saw it. I know what's coming. There is no. My imagination cannot build. in front of what's playing because I know what's coming. I already saw it. So the second time, I really really enjoyed the ride. I think the finale is a bit rush. There is some good thing in the finale of this show. There is some minor things that I could pick apart, but in general, Picard is just an enjoyable ride. And what I love the most about Picard is that if you're a fan of Star Trek from the days old, you might love it, you might not, but you will find something to enjoy about it. And if you are completely new to the series, it is just amazing. It's I think they made a good job at creating a story that you can come in on the first episode and run through to the last, and you will understand who are these characters. You will understand that Picard is a very important captain in the Federation. Even if you don't know everything about his adventure, you will know who's the character is and what is his place in the universe. And then from that point on, it's a fast and lovable story about protecting a woman with a secret. You have it's a good, I think, it's a good study of basically well, yeah, the political study in Star Trek Picard is nice, especially if you watch it in 2020. Um, but I think the study about the relationship between human and technology, more so the android of our future, like the artificial intelligence and stuff like that. Our relationship with things like Alexa. Sorry for the one I triggered, but our technology with vocal assistants and stuff like that. They make a good study of with that in the fact that basically the series start and there is a band on Android. They're gonna explain you the reason behind that, but basically the world of Picard is scared of that artificial intelligence, of the future of robot and android and stuff like that. So for me, that is a big fan of that future, that love technology, that would love to have an automaton home, getting home and saying computer turn light on and stuff like that. I love that things. I love those technology. I want to see where the future goes with those technology, but it's not everybody who like that. Some people are scared of it. A lot of conspirationists are scared of the vaccine for the COVID because they're telling that they're gonna use the COVID vaccine to put a chip in us and control our every movement. So that is thing that we hear every day if you pay attention to that. So like I said, I love that shit. I live for that cyberpunk future of ours. But Picard make a good study uh, of that relationship that we have. So yeah, so that are my impression of Picard. If you are a long fan of Star Trek, go enjoy it. You're gonna have to listen to that show many times to pick up every Easter egg they made in it. And if you are new to Star Trek, I think Picard is a good introduction that will surely make you ask the question, what came before? Um, so what came before Picard just a few years ago. So like I said, season 3 starting next week. I can't wait for it. Discovery was a breath of fresh air for me. Like I said, I'm a big fan of Star Trek. I'm a big fan of Star Trek of the old. I love the new movies, and I think Discovery is just the perfect match between the cinematic version that we have in the new Kelvin timeline. When I say new Kelvin timeline, it's basically Star Trek 2009, Into Darkness, and beyond. That's a different timeline that's a different timeline. Sorry, than the original series and TNG and DS9 and Voyager. So basically, they created a parallel world where the events were very different, and the basically uh, Starfleet and the Federation are very different in the movie series than they were in the original one. And it's nice because in the story they explain why they would be more technologically advanced in the new movie compared to the original series, although they happen at the same time. Um, so yeah, so Discovery came. It's a breath of fresh air for me. It's a mix of the series that we love of the whole and the cinematic vision that we have in the new movie. So a lot of lens flare, a lot of J.J. Abraham magic, although is not part of the series. Uh, it's Alec Kurtzman, basically, who is in charge of, I think, both Discovery and Picard. Basically, if you don't know Alex Kurtzman, he's an old collaborator of J.J. Abrams. They wrote Mission Impossible 3 together, and they wrote Star Trek 2009, I think, together. And then J.J. went on to work on Star Wars, and Alex Kurtzman basically took the helm of everything Star Trek. Um, oh, I forgot one series. We're gonna talk about another series in a minute. I'm gonna go on with Discovery. So Discovery came on. Uh, Almost immediately, I was hooked. Basically, Discovery in the timeline happened uh, before the Enterprise or before the original series, basically before Kirk take control of the Enterprise from Pike. And I'm gonna talk about Pike in a minute. So Discovery happens before that. Basically, the start of Discovery is the start of the war between the Federation and the Klingon. And it's very interesting. They go deep into that in the first season. And I think Discovery makes some bold and very risky decision with its first season, with the premise of the show, with the fact that it happened in the past, but like first of all, the ship, the Discovery, doesn't exist in our future in the original series or TNG and all that. Um, so they created a ship that we know nothing about that doesn't exist in the future, um, and they ask us to trust them to believe that everything will make sense, and everything does. That first season of Discovery was really cool. We go. If you've watched DS9, I think even TNG did it, but DS9 dealt more with that. So we have like the dark universe, if you want to. So basically, it's a parallel universe going along with us, but it's very different. The war or the power in the universe are not the same, and Discovery make just like that first season just makes everything click together well. It's well acted. All the characters are mostly interesting. The captain slash spoiler antagonist is awesome. I love Captain Orca in that first season. It I think it was a well written character, and the plot going around him was really really nice. Michael Burnham, she's the main character. She's just a breath of fresh air in general in Star Trek. Basically, if you've watched all the series, you know that every captain of Star Trek, even if sometimes they will tip a toes out of bound, out of the line, they are pretty much all of them Starfleet. They go by a very, very strict moral code. Whether it's Picard with his rigid, by the book, very human and philosophical thinking, or with Cisco, a little bit more rash, but still pretty much Starfleet, and Janeway, who's, even though she's in a predicament that will that could cost her crew, her ship, and everything. She is Starfleet true and true, and it's because she is Starfleet that they will survive that voyage and come back to the Alpha Quadrant. But Michael Burnham, first of all, is a commander, not a captain, although she's the main character. Um, Basically, the series starts with her doing a mutiny and basically being the reason why uh, the Federation and the Klingon got into a horrible, horrible war that would last for generations. But, and all that finished, season one is done, the war is, for now, like close, and then season two coming. And let me tell you, season two of Discovery is just something else. It's you cannot. There is no point of reference in any Star Trek for what the second season of Discovery is doing. They go on a goose chase looking for a signal that appears all throughout the galaxy, and basically the season one finished with the Discovery basically coming face to face with the Enterprise. This was a get hype moment for me at the end of season one. I was like, oh my god, if the Discovery meets the Enterprise, what does that mean? Basically, what's nice is that we meet the Enterprise when Pike is in control. So that was before Kirk. So if the timeline is accurate, basically Kirk is or still a child or just started at the academy at that point. I'm not sure. I haven't checked the star date to make sure of it. But basically, yes, Kirk is not yet part of Starfleet. It's really Pike and Number One in control of the Enterprise. So basically, there is two storyline that goes on Discovery season two, and God, I love them all. I love every single episode and moment of that second season. So basically, we have those signals that I told you about. Basically, those signal, we don't know yet what they are, who or what make those signal, and the Discovery helm by Pike, not helm, captained by Pike, transferred from the Enterprise. The Enterprise need to go in repair. They have just come back from that first 5-year mission. The Enterprise is badly damaged, needs to be upgraded a little bit. So it's docked, and Pike take the control of the Discovery, and they go on that research. The second, sorry, the second storyline is Spock. Yay! So we know from season one, spoiler alert again. Basically, that's gonna be my last spoiler alert. I'm gonna spoil everything for every season series. So strap on if you haven't watched. This is basically your last warning. I will not say spoiler alert one more. So basically, we've learned in season one of Discovery that Michael Vernon has been adopted into the Spock family. Basically, she was found by Sarek, and he took her under his tutelage. So that's another very, very interesting aspect of Michael, because she's a human, but that basically had a childhood and all the training and all the study of Vulcan. So it's funny that she is at the beginning very, very, very logical, but as a human, uh, and you'll see later on that it will clash more often than not with the emotion that we have. So season two, we go and chase for that these signal, and we are also looking for Spock. So these two will converge in a amazing, amazing, amazing finale that will push the Discovery 800 years in the future. So basically, they are leaving 21, 22 something, and they're gonna end up in the season three starting next week in 3118, I think. So they are way, way ahead in the future. If you have looked at the trailer, basically in the future, the Federation is not what it used to be. It's not the superpower that it was because of a surge, I think they call it. Basically, there is an event that will happen in our future. Like if you take Picard, which is the most, the more like pushed in the future. Basically, Picard is the most recent event. Uh, After that, something in that future will happen, and basically the Discovery will pass it and see the ramification of that. So I can't wait. I am eager to see that new season of Discovery. I love it. Again, if you haven't watched Star Trek at all in your life, but you are interested in just an amazing sci-fi series, Discovery is nice. I think they really really nailed the scientific aspect that I loved about uh, all the original series. Um, they have that adventure, not episodic because it's not that anymore. It's very much a serial, but they play with these character and these situation in a very very smart way, and it's one of the nicer crew. I There is a lot of character that I love in Discovery. Suru is awesome. Michael Burnham is awesome. Um, Shit, what's the doctor? Anthony Rapp. That's the actor, his name, but his character is awesome. There's probably just Tilly that kind of bugged me up a little bit, but she grows on you. She especially in that second season, she's very very nice. Um, so before I get to the old one, there is another new series that I am enjoying, and it's Star Trek Lower Deck. So this is the new animated series. It's more like it's Star Trek, but not Star Trek. So if you're going into Lower Deck, expecting Star Trek the animated series, that's the old one. That's the animated series that followed the original series. That I've saw. That is cool. That is good. I will not talk much about it. Like I said, original series. I'll keep it for another episode when I'll get to it. But Lower Deck, if you are getting into that, expecting the animated series, you're gonna be disappointed. This is not it. Lower Deck is written, I think, by the creator of Marty. Hold on a second. Lower Deck. So it's Mike McMahon. Uh, and what did he do? What this guy did? Let's just go for Lower Deck. Animated, blah 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 blah. Yeah. Okay, I thought like the author of this was the creator of. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so McMahon served as a writer and producer on Rick and Morty. That's what I was looking for. So basically, the creator of Rick and Morty got brought on board to write a Star Trek animated show. Um, so if you are expecting that serious Star Trek philosophy, science, blah blah blah, forget about it. This is a comedy show, but it is pretty much Star Trek. So we are inside the Cerrito, and Cerrito is not a ship like the Enterprise. So basically, the Enterprise is a flagship, and all the Galaxy class or like those bigger ship, they are used for exploration, discovery, and first contact. These are their purpose. A ship like a Cerrito, it's like a lower class of a vessel where they go for that second contact. They are more a transport ship, science ship, things like that. So when the Enterprise make a discovery, do some analysis, send that back to Starfleet. Starfleet will send a vessel like the Cerrito to further explore that a phenomenon or research or make, like I said, a second contact after a first contact to establish a relationship with a new species or stuff like that. So they are keeping it very Star Trek in the sense that every week that crew will go on an adventure and it will be funny and it will be emotional and it will be awesome. And through that, they're gonna give you like reference over reference and Easter egg over Easter egg. They're gonna throw basically like a rack of eggs every episode in your face with reference to previous shows, because basically Lower Deck happened at the same time or just a little bit after TNG. So they're gonna reference Picard and the Enterprise and Geordi and Data and Cisco and I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they talk about Janeway because I think it's just before Voyager, um, but it's one of the best crew and one of the best cast ever that had ever blessed the Star Trek franchise. I even if you are not like someone like my dad, he doesn't care about cartoon. I would highly suggest that he go at least watch the first two episodes of Lower Deck, just for the pure fun of being a fan of Star Trek, watching a show made by fan of Star Trek. All the actors are amazing. One of the main casts is Quaid. Why don't I remember your first name, you motherfucker? I hate that. Jack Quaid. Jack Quaid. If you watch The Boys on Amazon Prime, is Yui on The Boys. He's voicing one of the character. And if you go take a look at the roster for that show, everyone is an awesome actor. And they are just doing a marvelous job. It's almost finished. That first season is almost finished. Yet again, basically Lower Deck will finish this week, and Discovery will start this week. So they're gonna overlap, not overlap, but they're gonna basically follow each other. And I don't know with the pandemic what it's gonna look like, but we are supposed to get a Picard season 2 in spring, I would guess, but I guess that the filming of that second season got delayed. So we don't know yet for Picard season 2, but we know that Discovery season 3 is coming up. Lower Deck is down, and Lower Deck will come back for a second season later on. So again, just freaking love it. That whole episode as basically being me hyping Star Trek, but it is that like I like I can pick like episode like individual episode and critique them and have bad things to say about it. But I think that in general, the universe of Star Trek is just so compelling. I love Mass Effect because I love Star Trek. I see so much of Star Trek into Mass Effect, and that's one of the reason I love Andromeda. Even though it's not a perfect game, it's the game that brought me the closest to a Star Trek experience where I'm in a new galaxy. I need to make discovery. I need to make a first contact. I need to build a settlement. I need to choose if like my future into that this new galaxy will be more or of a scientific implantation or a military one. And this in Mass Effect Andromeda, this dilemma that I had in the game, basically every decision I made in Andromeda was like, what would Picard do? And it was unconscious. It was like, okay, okay, I got this new settlement. I got this guy that says that, yeah, if I bring military equipment on the settlement, I could develop more technology. But and I got this guy saying like, yeah, but if you bring scientific, we can go around and make more discovery instead of building technology. So I had to play with that, and knowing that we had an enemy coming and we were not alone, and like I had to make those hard moral chores, and it was awesome to do it. So all thanks to Star Trek. Like I said, I can pick episode by episode and say bad thing about it, but in general I love Star Trek, and there is nothing I can do beside hype this series because now we have so much. If you live in Canada, basically all the original series are on Netflix, and you can catch all the new series on Crave if you want to give your money to Bell. I've watched all the original series on Netflix. They are on Crave too, but I've watched them on Netflix because I do not. I try to minimize the time I spend giving money to Bell. But for the new series, of course, here in Canada, because we don't have access to CBS All Access, we have to go by Crave. So if you want to watch them, go on Crave. Discovery season 1 and 2 are there. Picard season 1 is there. Lower Deck are there. So Lower Deck, the last episode will be this week, and the new episode of Discovery will be this week too. So I'm gonna stop there. So let's call it a part one of this geek out my Star Trek story and why I love it. And in the next episode, we're gonna go through Voyager DS9 all the way back to the next generation. Again, once again, thank you very much. My name is Alex. Thank you for being here with us on the Geek Ride channel. Please subscribe if you like what we do. We are live from Monday to Thursday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, and you can find all the video, a little bit later today on YouTube. Don't miss that. God, I'm gonna be all right. I'm gonna get through this. So don't miss our new show, Geek Out Reviews, Dragon Quest, The Adventure of Die. So this is every week, Monday, 6 a.m. You're going to find it on the YouTube page of the Geek Ride. So, guys, thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow it's Geek Out and Play. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to play for the next few weeks because basically Watch Dogs Legion is coming up fast. That's what I'm gonna play when it's come out. So for the next few weeks, I may jump from one game to the other, just basically finishing some backlog before I get on with the new stuff coming up this fall and winter season. All right, guys. See you soon. Ciao.